Welcome back to Michigan Storm Chasers. My name is Ryan, and today's video will focus on that weekend system you guys have probably been hearing a lot of talk, a lot of hype about. We're going to break it down here for you and talk about what to expect, when to expect it, and the overall concern we should have for this upcoming weekend. Let's go ahead and dive in. Before I get started, though, shout out to today's sponsor of our video, McKay Tree Specialists, based in Southeast Michigan. They cover areas east of 127 or south of I-69 in the southeast corner of the state. For all your tree trimming, cutting, or anything tree related, get a hold of McKay Tree Specialists. 248-308-7308 is the number to call to get a hold of McKay. And thank you to them for sponsoring today's video. Let's go ahead and dive in. So, eyes are on a pleasant week, a little bit cooler today, but a pleasant week upcoming here. Looking at temperatures, we're going to be based out of Lansing again. We're seeing today the coldest, 49 degrees, and we're going to warm back up tomorrow into the 60s, likely around 60. And then for Friday, this number right here, 70 degrees and 71 degrees here for Saturday, the two warmest days of the week still upcoming here. Likely going to be widespread 70s for pretty much the entire Lower Peninsula for both Friday and Saturday, as a system is bringing a lot of warm and also moist air from the Gulf up our direction. So, European model now, let's go ahead and take a look at what to expect. This is the system to watch. Today, dry. Thursday, dry. Friday to start, dry, and then we get to Friday evening here at 7 p.m. Sorry, 8 p.m. now with the time change. 8 p.m. we start to see the system on the model here moving up our direction with the rain here and also the center of the low pressure back over Kansas. It is a very deep, when I say deep, I mean strong, a very strong low pressure system. It'll likely be bringing us a lot of wind with it, as well as chances for severe weather, possibly for Michigan, but mainly for the west and southern portions of us. So the SPC does have a risk out to our west and to our south for the Friday time frame. If I can find the SPC outlook here. I thought I had this pulled up. I did not. There we go. Let's go ahead and go to day 3. There is your SPC outlook. Now, do take note. It does show Southwest Michigan in a level 1 marginal risk there in the dark green area. And also the slight risk level 2 does brush Berrien County. But the orange section down here, this is where we're kind of keeping our closer eye on for the system for the Friday evening time frame. But potential is there for a line of storms to develop somewhere across the plains area, the Ozarks. It's going to push northeast in the heaviest zone there in the orange, but as it does so, it'll lose daytime heating. Biggest question will be how far east and north does this get before it weakens? So that is the main thing to watch. Right now, we're expecting it to weaken significantly to a point we're not going to become too concerned about it in Michigan, but the chances there for a few severe storms, if it can make it into the southern portions of the state, wind will be the primary risk with that. That would be overnight Friday into Saturday morning. And then attention then turns to the Saturday time frame where we could see another round of perhaps storms for Michigan. So putting it all together here, going back and running this through the time frames for the European model. Let's go ahead and bring that back up for you guys. Let's go ahead and pull it back into, there we go. Let's go ahead and run this through. We're going to start seeing that rain shield arrive there roughly on the model here. We're seeing this around 5 in the morning, Friday night into Saturday morning. So 5 a.m. Saturday morning to be exact. We're seeing that arrive, and that's going to push into the state. It's going to be rainy, and then that will continue to push eastward. But notice how we still have rain around here for the day on Saturday. Let's go ahead and talk about that. So Saturday, we do have a severe risk to our south and east, but we here at Michigan Storm Chasers do feel it is a little higher here, especially for eastern Michigan. So our outlook reflects our thoughts here. We'll show you that here in a second. But the reason for that is a lot of these models are bringing in a lot of instability. Now, backing up to Friday night and going into Saturday, the main concern with Friday evening's event will be how much instability can we get to hang around for Southwest Michigan for a severe threat. So going into the day on Friday, we see most of that instability is centered off to our west and to our south here across Iowa, Illinois, Missouri. That's your higher instability levels. Do take note, though, we do have some amount of instability here in Michigan, but as we push into the overnight hours, this axis of instability does also push into very far south and west portions of Michigan, probably enough to support very low chances of a isolated severe wind gust. The big concern that we have, and perhaps the main concern, is going to be on Saturday, where models are showing a resurgence of instability for portions of central and eastern Michigan here throughout the afternoon and evening on Saturday. So as such, when we overlap that with our wind shear, we get something called the supercell composite parameter. Going off of the NAM model, we can start to see that increase here. So we overlap the wind shear with instability. We see a very bright color indicating a higher environment for severe weather. We see that on Friday to our south and west there across Illinois and Tennessee, Missouri areas. As we get through the day here on Saturday, we see a resurgence there, not as bright, not as colorful as to our south, but still enough instability in wind shear is forecasted right now to exist, especially across eastern portions of Michigan. We are concerned for severe weather on Saturday afternoon and evening. So as such, our two forecasts we have out for Friday, we have put the southwest corner of Michigan overnight Friday into Saturday morning in a limited risk, and then Berrien County, very far south and west, in a level 2 low risk here for severe weather. And the wind gust would be the main concern there. We should not see concern for hail or tornadoes. It should just be primarily a damaging wind threat if any threat does materialize Friday. The big concern that we have, I keep using big, but the bigger, should I say, concern, not a very high risk overall, but the graver concern of the 2 days is going to be on Saturday afternoon there. We put the eastern portion of Michigan in a low risk, so level 2 on our scale. And then we could see severe weather all the way back west toward that Lansing or perhaps toward the Grayling Gaylord area for reference. The blue zone, limited risk, is going to be where we kind of can see we may see a isolated severe storm or two, but definitely highest risk off to the east there across Thumb from Monroe up to Port Austin there in the green. This will likely change and kind of shift as we get more model guidance. Hopefully it shifts out of the state, but if it does not, we do expect there to be at least some amount of concern for damaging winds, perhaps even an isolated tornado here on Saturday. Not really too concerned for the hail risk, but there's a lot of wind shear with this system, so we are concerned mainly for wind. Would not rule out a chance of an isolated tornado if we get enough instability to be recognized in the eastern half of Michigan. All right, now the last thing I'll cover here is going to be the wind. So going back here to our chart, we're going to flip it over here to the surface map for wind. We are checking out wind gusts of 40 to 50 miles per hour across pretty much the entire state, maybe not so much as the UP. We're going to go ahead and say the LP mainly, but looking at our wind gusts here and kind of moving into that Friday night, Saturday time frame, I got to go back one model run because it's loading in now. Here we go. There is your wind gust for the Saturday time frame. We're seeing widespread 40, 45 miles per hour, could get as high as 50 in spots there across the state. Watching for higher amounts, definitely a possibility across the southern portion of the state, but do take note, even without showers or storms on Saturday, we're going to be really gusty. Perhaps could see some isolated power outages due to the wind by itself. We'll keep you guys updated on how that looks as we get into the Thursday and Friday timeframes, but do plan for a warmer, but also a very windy Saturday with chances of storms, some of which could be strong or perhaps even severe. Overall concern, again, I'd highlight this, is not very high for severe weather, but it does warrant attention as there's a lot of wind shear. There's not a lot of instability, but there's enough wind shear that kind of makes us turn our head and go, we got to watch that a little bit more carefully, and that is what we're doing and communicating to you guys. So with that being said, I will catch you guys tomorrow on another update video. Hopefully we're talking about a lower severe risk than today, but overall, we'll keep you guys updated either way. You guys stay safe, stay tuned to the forecast. We got you guys covered here at Michigan Storm Chasers.